Welcome back, guys. My name is Gordon. Today, we're jumping in to show you exactly how to earn liquidity on the SUI network by providing liquidity to SUI pools and using leverage to increase your cash flow potential. Let's dive straight into it. I'm not going to waste any time, but you do have to understand that there are certain risks when using leverage, but we're going to talk about that here in today's video as well. Okay, so I wanted to open up SUI here on DeFi Llama just to kind of paint the picture on why I'm bullish on SUI in general and why it is a very lucrative opportunity for liquidity provision and generating yield. We can see there's about $2 billion of total value locked in DeFi on the SUI network. And this chart moving up and to the right is what really excites me because we've seen very continuous growth with regards to the expansion and TVL increase on the SUI blockchain over the past couple of years. And what we're going to be honing in on more specifically in today's video is a protocol by the name of Kai Finance. Okay. Again, one of our community members brought this to our attention. I had known about Kai Finance, but just very recently, Kai Finance have introduced the ability to do leveraged farming, i.e., adding additional leverage on top of your capital so that you can increase your cash flow potential. If I jump into Kai Finance, we can see there's about $40 million of total value locked on Kai Finance. And once again, what really excites me is the way that this chart is moving up and to the right with the growth here at the end of 2024 into 2025. This up and to the right movement is what gets me excited about protocols that are able to sustainably continue increasing and growing their TVL over time. Okay. Again, we've talked about different methods of using leverage across different blockchains. A lot of our clients and members are using Revert Finance to lever up pools on Ethereum and Arbitrum. A lot of our clients and Fast Track members are using DeFi Tuna on Solana in order to increase leverage on their Sol USDC pools and other pools on the Orca DEX. But now we've got Kai Finance, which is introducing the ability for us to use leverage on our SUI pool positions. And I'm going to show you a demo on how to do that in this video right now. So all you need to do is come over to Kai Finance. Again, I recommend using the official link from DeFi Llama so you make sure that you're on the correct website. But if you come over to these LP Vault, you can see that there's a number of different vault positions where you can begin providing liquidity. Again, it's going to quote you a pretty rough range for the APR that you can be generating from providing liquidity here. But of course, the APR that you're going to actually generate is going to be heavily dependent on the concentrated liquidity range that you select when using these particular pools. Again, the APR that you get is also going to be a direct result of how much leverage you use on the individual position as well. And of course, we need to be careful when using leverage, especially on volatile assets, just like Solana. If I click into Solana USDC here, we can see that I've got an open position right now. But when we go to actually create any of these individual pools, if I wanted to create a new position, you can see it gives us the ability to select the protocol. Again, depending on the specific pair, you're going to have multiple different protocols to select from via Kai Finance. And in a very similar way to how DeFi Tuna on Solana allows you to lever up exposure to pools on the Orca DEX, Kai Finance allows us to lever up exposure to different pool opportunities across multiple different DEXs like Cetus and Bluefin. If you're not familiar with Bluefin, it is a perp trading DEX on the SUI network as well. And so what I did is I opened up a SUI USDC position on Bluefin directly, and I was able to add liquidity here in the form of SUI and USDC, select my concentrated range, and lever up my position. Okay, when I was looking at the pool that I was opening, I referenced the SUI chart in order to create a moderate sized range for me to provide concentrated liquidity at. We won't go into the intricacies of creating those specific ranges on this video, but again, just to keep it simple, I like to use somewhere between maybe a 25 to 35 or 40% wide range when supplying liquidity on SUI USDC pools. The range I've selected in this example is roughly about 30% wide. I'm going to show you this pool in a moment. And as a quick side note, we're seeing SUI breaking out of this downtrend that it had been in since these January highs, breaking up to about $4.44, coming down to retest the trend line and getting a bounce. So this is a nice positive breakout that we're seeing hold here for SUI. but it might be a while before we actually get to break out and breach this level of resistance around $4.33. So the range that I've set for this pool example that I'm showing today is from about $3 to $3.99. If I jump back over to Kai Finance and open up my specific position, I want to draw a few items in particular to your attention, especially if you are considering opening a levered pool on Kai Finance for something like SUI USDC. So we can see I created this position. I've got some pending yield because I only opened it a few minutes ago. Technically, I've got over $2 of P&L thus far as well. What you're seeing is my min price at $3, my max price at $3.99. That is the concentrated range at which I'm providing liquidity. But there is some important information in the side panel here with my position breakdown as well. We can see my liquidation price. Again, when we're taking on leverage and levering up our exposure to a pool, we have a liquidation price. On the lower end, in this case, because I've only borrowed USDC in order to lever up the position, which I'll show you in a moment, my liquidity pool size is showing me the value of the liquidity in the overall position broken down into the two underlying assets of 22.3 SUI and about 96.9 USDC. We can see the equity in the position to begin with was about 56 SUI and 6.5 USDC. The total debt denominated in USDC as about $90 worth of USDC. And we can see the interest rates that I'm paying in order to borrow that USDC on the levered up position is about 5.23%. So it's giving me an estimated APR of 124%. And in my scenario, I chose to use about 1.5x leverage when I created and opened the position just a few minutes ago. You're seeing the leverage changing in real time though, because SUI is also changing in price in real time. And so my leverage has actually decreased ever so slightly because the price of SUI has increased ever so slightly since I opened this position about 10 or 15 minutes ago. I hope this is all making sense. In the detailed activity history at the bottom of the screen here, we can also see the transaction details for how I created the position initially. I had 24 SUI and 90 USDC that went into actually creating the initial position. So I started off with that amount of SUI and USDC to create the pool in the first place. The extra collateral came in the form of this 33 SUI, and then the collateral that got added into position is another 57.98 SUI. And again, that debt was taken on in the form of USDC in order to lever up and give me that exposure to that additional SUI. And we can see that denominated over here with my total debt being 90 USDC. And again, I'm paying 5.2% interest on that USDC. But the goal being here that I'm going to be earning a hell of a lot more than 5.2% from deploying that additional capital into the pool to lever up my position. Again, you can open that up directly on the blockchain and understand the transaction here with SUI Vision and break down everything that happened under the hood for creating your position. But for all intents and purposes, I'm now generating some pretty significant cash flow and yield on a percentage basis with this levered up position. Again, technically, my capital is being deployed in the underlying protocol for Bluefin with that SUI USDC trading pair and providing liquidity to traders who are executing swaps and trades using Bluefin between SUI and the USDC. And by using 1.5x leverage, I've essentially increased my cash flow potential by almost 50% on top of what I would be getting if I didn't use any leverage in the first place. Okay, like I said, there are risks involved here. You need to be conservative with that leverage that you're using because you do have a liquidation price for SUI on the lower end. This means if my price of SUI was to drop all the way down to $1.36, that would be my liquidation trigger. You can see from the current price of SUI to where we're at to that $1.36 mark would require about a 61% decrease in the price of SUI from the prices where we're at right now. But of course, if you opt to use even more leverage on the position, your liquidation price is going to continue moving closer and closer to the current spot price of the asset. So hopefully that's making sense, guys. Make sure to drop any comments below this video. I wanted to get this made so that you can be aware of the opportunities to use leverage on your SUI pools and positions to increase your cash flow potential and generate additional yield. That is it for today's video, guys. If you got any value out of that SUI liquidity provision tutorial, please take 3 seconds to drop a thumbs up on the video below. If you're looking for more hand-holding and in-depth liquidity provision tutorials, check out the link for the UIG below. And we've got a fast-track program where our fast-track clients are becoming pros at generating DeFi cash flow. If that is of interest, check out the links in the description below this video as well, and we'll catch you in the next one.